So now we're going to add what happens if there are more steps. So what you added into your notebook are all the steps typed out for you, and we are going to look at some of those individual pieces. Do you need something to write with? Do this.
I need gum.
Okay, so I've gone through, I'm telling you right now, these are not hard, fast rules. There are ways that you could solve problems and be correct and not go in the exact same order that I'm going in. But for most of us, right, you just say, please just tell me what to do, and I will do it so that I can just pass the class, because that's all I care about, right? Just let me, please, Lord, just let me get away from you, Mrs. McKinney. I don't want any more math.
Yep.
So the first step is going to be if there are parentheses, right? So if there are parentheses, we are going to distribute. The key is that we need to make sure we actually know how to distribute. So we're going to look at a couple examples of distributing here. So if I say something like 4 and then in parentheses x plus 3.
Oh, that's easy.
What does distributing tell us to do? Oscar?
Multiply.
Multiply what?
The number on the outside.
Okay, so the number that's outside is going to get passed out to everything that's inside. And when we pass it out, we're going to pass it out with multiplication. Okay, so every time we pass that out, we're passing out with multiplication. So the first thing that we want to multiply is 4 times x. So if we don't see a number here in front of x, what number is there?
1.
1. Okay, so we're going to multiply 4 times 1.
That would be 4x.
Hello. Yeah, you can come in. It's back here on this back wall. Don't worry about it. No, it's not. What are you talking about?
What do you do?
Don't worry about it. Okay, so if we multiply 4 times 1, guys, 4 times 1 is 4, and then the x just comes along with it. 4 times 3. Oh, Trini, what are you thinking?
Nothing.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, 4 times 3 is the next piece. Now, this is a big piece we have to consider. Is this addition or is this a positive?
That's positive.
Okay, so it's a positive 3. So we want to think about this as a positive 3. So if we take 4 times positive 3, we get what?
12.
Positive 12. So we're going to put down here a positive 12. Okay, here. I don't really know. I swear it's like you all don't know how to use a pencil sharpener.
Oh.
Every time. My students do this every time. So let's say we have this. 3 minus, and then in parentheses, 4 minus 2x.
Yeah.
So we still have parentheses, so we still want to distribute. The key here is that we want to make sure we're only distributing what's directly in front of the parentheses. So my students are often very tempted to distribute that 3, but the 3 is too far away. So what number is truly sitting here in front of the parentheses?
1.
Right, a -1. And so we want to take this -1 and pass it out to each piece. So the first one my students don't have a problem with. -1 times 4 is what?
-4.
-4. What number is this right here?
That's -2.
A -2. So is this a negative or is this a subtraction?
That's a negative.
Negative. Subtraction. Same thing.
Both, right? They're the same thing. So if you take this sign with it, what is -1 times -2?
A positive 2.
A positive 2x. Okay, and that positive just gives us the addition sign that we needed. Anything else that's happening in the problem just comes straight down. Okay, so our step 1 is always going to be to get rid of those parentheses. Questions there?
Nope.
Our step 2 is going to be to combine like terms. Okay, so here's a math thought of the day. What are like terms?
2. These are the same.
The
Or
4
have the
adds
same-
What makes them the same?
they have the
Same
same
variable.
like, sign.
Okay, so they have the same sort of label. They have the same variable attached to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can get things together if they are alike. Now, if you say, but I really don't like to deal with variables, think of your favorite fruit or vegetable, because it gets a label too. So if I say something like 4 apples and 2 apples, how many apples do I have?
6 apples.
I have 6 apples. Now, just like we were saying yesterday, we're always taking the sign in front. So this sign goes with the 7, not with the X's. Okay, so a 4x and a 2x can go together to a 6x, and then the -7 would just come down. We okay on that?
Yes.
Step 3, we are not doing today. We're saving ourselves time and we're gonna add it into notes next week. So we're skipping step 3. So go to step 4. So I'm gonna be honest here. I made up this word. There's not something else to call it. Step 4 says if there is a large fraction. Okay, by a large fraction, I mean if there are multiple things happening on top. Okay, so there's 2 things on top. There could be 3 things. There could be 100 things on top. So if we have a large fraction, the first thing that we want to do is to isolate it. What does the word isolate mean?
Get by itself.
Get it by itself. We want to get it alone. Right? If you're isolated, you are alone. You're separated from everyone else. So if we have something like x plus 6 over 2 minus 7,
Wait, Wait, what are we getting on the 6 and 7?
So if we wanted to do that first step and we want to isolate it, this is the large fraction. So the 7 is what we would need to be moving. We okay there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Once we get it by itself, then we're going to multiply by the denominator. What does the word denominator mean?
Bottom number, bottom.
Right? This is the bottom of the fraction. So this is what we would move next. How do we undo division? Multiplication, right? So this fraction is division, so that's why I'm telling you to multiply by it. Once you do those steps, you should be down to something that looks just like what we did in the POD. Something that we've already talked about, something that we are able to solve. Okay, so oftentimes my students will say to me, Mrs. McKinney, I can't do this equation. I can't solve it. And if I just say, pull out your notes and walk yourself through those steps, they'll go, oh, put it on my desk. Put it on my desk. Okay, so what I want you to do is, this is now the stuff that's on the left-hand side of your notebook, right? So now go to the right-hand side of your notebook. So now we're going to write in a couple things over here. Does that make sense? So we're going to date this page. So today is Thursday, February 27th. Mm-hmm. Minus 8, yeah, write this down. So write this down on the right-hand side. 4x minus 8 plus 2x plus 4 equals 20. Okay, so my guess is about half of you would look at this problem and go, yeah, that's too hard. I can't do that. Okay, and you'll say it's too hard because there's lots of numbers happening. Instead of just saying, okay, let's go a step at a time. So step 1 says if there are parentheses. Do we see any parentheses up here?
No.
Nope. So we skip that step. Step 2 says if there are any like terms.
Yes.
Do we see any like terms?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, so what's a like term with 4x?
2x.
2x. What is 4x plus 2x?
6x
6x.
minus 8.
Wait, I have a question.
Yep.
So the way I would have done this is I would have subtracted the 2x off of 4x.
So these are on the same side of the equal sign. So we want to combine them with the same sign that we see.
Because I remember that.
So you are remembering something. We're just not going to introduce that until next week. So as long as we are sitting over here together on the same side of the equal sign, we use exactly what we read. Right, so do you remember like my t-shirt company, right? And same side, same sign?
Yeah.
Opposite sign, okay? What else is like terms over here? Does -8 have anything that's like it?
No. Oh yeah, plus the 4.
Right, so we're so used to finding like terms that have the same letter, but we can't forget that if it's just a constant, those can be combined as well. Okay, so now let's put these together. So we do -8 plus 4. So what is -8 plus 4?
12. No, 4.
Negative.
Right, and if you say, I don't know, use calculator. Use calculator. So this will just bring down. Step 3 we said we wouldn't worry about. Step 4 says if there is a large fraction. Do we have a large fraction?
Not yet.
Nope. So now we're just down to something we know how to solve. Right? This is something that we were doing in the POD and we were doing on Tuesday, so what do we want to do next? Add 4.
Both sides.
Divide by 6.
And then divide by 6.
Beautiful. Couldn't do that.
Okay, we're going to do one more example in our notes. So put the next problem below it.
He said, I'm not. Are we doing this one by ourselves or?
No, we're going to do it together in our notes.
I'm gonna do this one.
Oh, I'll just flip back. I can flip back. I'm sorry. You can always just say, Mrs. McKinney, you're going too fast.
Wait, no. Mrs. McKinney,
What?
you're going way too fast. Just kidding.
Okay, thank you.
You got it?
Yeah.
Don't be sorry. So we have 3, and then in parentheses, 2x plus 4 minus 3x equals 34. Okay, so step 1
Distribute.
says if there are parentheses, so are there parentheses?
Yes.
Yep. Annie, did you multiply these? Annie, did you multiply these? Did you multiply these? What'd you get? You can say what'd you get. Okay, numero.
No. Say. You wrote
Yeah, see. Say it in English. In English, 6x. Okay, so we get 6x. Then what are we going to do?
Distribute another side.
Distribute to the next one.
It's gonna be 12.
So Isaac, if we take that 3 times the 4, what'd you get?
12.
12. Everything else is coming straight down. Okay, step 2. Says if there are like terms.
You combine
So Rachel, do we have any like terms up here?
We have 6x and 3x.
6x and 3x. So let's put those together.
Subtract.
Right, so we use the sign that we see right there. So 6x minus 3x, 3x. Excellent. Do we have a large fraction?
No.
Nope. So we're down to something we know how to solve. So Ephraim, what do you want to do next?
Subtract 12.
Subtract 12. Imani, what are we going to do last? 5 by 3. Right, and we can either leave this as 22 over 3, Or we could write it as 7 1/3. Or for all you decimal lovers, 7.3 repeating.